Kingston, how should I start? Because we have a lot to discuss. I don't want to do this video, but it's time. It's time. All right, let's just do it. Hello, welcome back to my channel. What's up, y'all? I'm not a snack, I'm Emile. If this is your first time here, welcome. I'm so happy that you're here. If this is not your first time here and you still haven't subscribed, go ahead and click that subscribe button because I don't want you to miss any of my videos. I know I always talk about how I'm gonna post more on here, but I really am going to start posting more on this channel, and I want you to be here for the journey. Speaking of the journey, we have gone on a journey for the last 3 years, and I'm going to talk about things today that I have never discussed publicly, so grab your popcorn, grab your snacks, whatever it is, because we're gonna spill some tea. I'm not gonna be shady.
Be nice.
I'm finding it.
It take you that long to find it?
It does.
I can't verify it. How do I? We have a lot to discuss. So let me just say before I know, why can't I even start this video right now? So I know that I have interviewed so many people. You know, I interview people for a living. I'm a host, I do those things. But today we're interviewing myself. It's going to be a self-interview. And it's going to expose a lot. And I'm going to talk about behind the scenes. I'm going to talk about the reality of this industry. We're going to get into how fake people are. We're going to talk about the highs, the lows. We're going to talk about how I even got started with certain jobs. And yeah, we're gonna get into all of it. But before I even get into, you know, why I left Clevver News, what happened after the reel, all that stuff, there was a tweet that this is what kind of kicked it all off for me. So somebody tweeted a few years ago, "I wonder what Emile Ennis Jr. is doing now. Mans left Clevver in 2020, the reel ended, Wendy Williams show ended, did he at least get hired back for Sherry?"
To say the least. Are you okay? I mean, I'm just in shock.
Like, tell me how you really feel. But the funny thing is, I don't think people really understand the journey that I went on after all of this stuff happened and how emotional it was for me. And we're gonna get into that right now. So let's go ahead and kick it off. Kingston, are we ready to talk about everything? Okay. You know what's funny? Actually, it's not funny. It hasn't been an easy season of life for a while now for many reasons. And it's interesting to see people who are in your life when things are going well. It's interesting to see people who are in your life when, you know, you're on TV, when you have multiple, you know, jobs, they give you accolades and they want to be around you, they want to support you, but then when those go away, crickets, right? Energy is important for me, and I really do have a good read on energy. There's so much fakeness in this industry. There's so many fake people. There are lies. I don't know, this industry can be very, very fake. It can be very fickle. I tend to be the person where it doesn't matter. I'm not friends with you. I'm not supporting you just because of, you know, your status. If I've met you and I vibe with you, I'm supporting you because I want to see you win. One of my favorite quotes I found recently, it says, "When people fall in love with someone's flowers but not their roots, they don't know what to do when autumn comes. Your relationships need to be built on deep alignment on values, character, and morals. The roots, not just love, appearance, hobbies, and status. The flowers." I thought that was so real because in this industry, there are so many fake people. There's so many fake people. And I've really been surrounding myself with people who can pour into me, who actually care about me, who want to see me succeed, and who are actually rooting for me. If you even listen to that phrase, rooting for me, right? If I'm rooting for someone, That means that I am caring about their foundation, about where they're going, right? Because like that quote says, the flowers can go away, but the roots will still be there. And even when the tree is barren, that tree is still there. It's still hanging on, and the flowers will come again. But that doesn't mean that everybody can see that and everybody's gonna support you through that. So before I get into why I left Clevver News, for those who don't know, Clevver News was one of the largest digital news platforms on YouTube. And it was huge. My journey started at Clevver in 2016. If you've never seen me on Clevver News, let's just go ahead before I continue. Let's just do a little rewind and go back to the past, a little recap, trip down memory lane so we can see and be reminded of what I looked like when I was on Clevver. It was an evolving journey.
And I was like, what?
Let's just say that wasn't on the Snapchat, but
Right.
when you're listening to these songs, I want you to imagine that Bruno Mars is singing the song. And if you haven't seen Casper Meets Wendy, you are missing out. It's so good.
Paparazzi found.
I can't.
I don't care that you don't have your beard. We got Tyga.
King Gold Chains.
Can you rap?
Yeah, you should rap
Can
something.
you rap for me? Oh, you got your mustache now.
Yeah, you like it? It's
kinda
real.
like it.
So the question I have for you now is, which wax figure do you think is the most terrifying of them all? Tell us in the comments section below.
I don't even know.
So many possibilities. You're here at the Stranger Things 2 premiere. We're gonna talk to some of the cast and play a little game of Would You Rather? Would you rather live without Instagram or Snapchat?
Snapchat.
Okay, would you rather eat burnt egg?
Actually, Instagram. Sorry, because I talk to a lot of people on Snapchat, so Instagram.
And you can't sit with us.
Oh,
Emile!
Rude, all right.
You can't sit with us.
It was a really fun show.
No.
We'll see you.
No,
we'll see you
no,
next
no,
week.
no, 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 no.
I have hair now, and I'm blonde. For those who don't know, I didn't always grow my hair out. When I first started at Clevver, you know, people were being introduced to me on this audience, and somebody in the comments section said that I look like one of the little peanuts from the Proud Family movie, and I don't think I look like the peanut, but apparently Drew thinks that I look like the peanut from the Proud Family movie. I still don't think I look like that peanut, but anyway, it was time for a change. And
Even like, oh my god, this is TMI, and I don't know if you guys want to put this out there, but like, there's times where I think about somebody, and like, they die.
Oh wait, don't think about me, Brandon. Don't ever think about me. Monday DHR. The Monday DHR. The Monday. Okay, moving on. Susan forced me to dance, by the way. I have to point that out.
Because there was a comment last week that said you didn't do the dance.
I didn't even know there was a dance.
And the category is
2019 VMAs.
Oh my god, not only do I love the Video Music Awards, but I love the fashion.
The fashion is always so good because you can do anything and everything, and we are here for it.
It's dirty laundry.
Wait, somebody say something.
3, 2, 1, black!
God, wait a minute. I'm gonna throw up.
Guys.
Oh my god, what's up? We have so much to talk about this week. Oh, y'all, there's drama out there.
Fake news in the air.
But we're here to find the truth.
There's no need to be scared.
If it's drama that you seek,
We got the rumors from the week.
but there's no need to lose control.
We are breaking the rules.
What's up, y'all? I'm Emile, Ennis Jr. back here with Clevver News. And Tom Felton just reacted to the viral TikTok trend about his Harry Potter character with a hilarious video of his own. I did like a little messy bun in the back too, just to like switch it up a little bit so you just can see a little bit of the hair on the outside, but it's like kind of still tame. And then I feel like I'm a professor for this. The professor of
Like an art teacher.
of the circus. Like, I truly have so many amazing memories at Clevver. Clevver was honestly the real start to boosting my career in hosting. So I started on this network called AfterBuzz TV, where I was doing like the Scandal after show, America's Got Talent after show, different things like that. And I did start to, you know, build some fans from that. People were a fan of me doing, especially the Scandal after show, Gladiator for Life. And I'm so grateful for that. And then when I auditioned for Clevver in 2015, and this is gonna be an educational video too, for those of you who DM me and ask, how do you get into hosting? Like, what tips do you have? All these different things. I'm just gonna tell you how it happened for me. A lot has changed since then though, but I'm gonna tell you how it happened for me. So, I auditioned for Clevver in 2015. there was a posting on Actors Access at the time, audition for Clevver for a host role. I had a callback, and if you don't know what a callback means that the casting director and the producers, whoever's hiring the people for this role, they liked you and they want to see more from you to then determine after the callbacks if you're right for the job. I thought I nailed my callbacks. I didn't end up getting it, and I was really bummed because at the time, like, I didn't really have anything going on like that was paid for hosting. I was working as a server, and I was just kind of like making ends meet, but I really wanted an entertainment news job. I always wanted to be on like E! News or Entertainment Tonight or Access Hollywood or things like that. But Clevver News was cool because Clevver News was like the digital version, and we were doing, you know, YouTuber news and some of the younger stars as well as the older stars. And it was just like a nice hybrid between everything. I didn't get the job, and then literally a year to a year and a half later, I get an email from Chris, who was working at Clevver at the time, and he was basically emailing me to see if I would be interested in coming in for the role. He said that they had my, you know, information on file, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, huh? A year and a half almost has passed by and I'm getting this random email. I remember I was working at this restaurant in West Hollywood and I thought it was a joke. I was like, there's no way this is real. So I replied, it was real. I went in, did a cold read. Cold read means they put a script on the teleprompter and you literally just read it without having any knowledge of what the script is gonna say ahead of time. So it might say, hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome back to Clevver News. I'm Emile Ennis Jr. And today we're talking about, yep, you guessed it, and you just read it. And if you know how to read a teleprompter, you know that even if you're doing a cold read, you have to know where to naturally put different inflections and how to change your tone. Is this a vibrant story? Should I have a bright tone? Should it be like kind of somber if there's a death? Oh, there's a baby that was born. Like whatever it is, you have to do it. So it's a cold read, nailed it. But I forgot what else they had me do. They had me do a couple of things for that audition. And then they brought me back a few weeks later for a screen test. Did my screen test on DHR and then also on just one of the newsfeed videos. And I got the job. I found out a few weeks later and my life changed forever. When I joined Clevver, my life truly changed, and I didn't realize that when I joined Clevver, I wasn't just getting a job, I was literally getting the job that was going to introduce me to friends that became family. Now, am I close with everybody at Clevver? Absolutely not. Clevver was an interesting environment behind the scenes. There was a lot of politics that I won't get into, but yeah, it was interesting behind the scenes. Like there were people who were, oh, I don't wanna be shady, but should I spill the tea? The biggest thing that I dislike about LA and the people out here a lot of times is they want to know your following, they want to know what you do, how you can help them, how they can help you, like, and it's like a mutual transaction type thing, or it's a leech and they're just trying to take from you. But yes, there were genuine people at Clevver. I will say that. I literally, some of my best friends came from Clevver News and from Clevver Style, and I'm so grateful that I met them. And yes, there were lots of genuine people at Clevver. I'll leave it at that. So I was on Clevver News from 2016 to 2018, I believe. And then we all got laid off. There was an article that came out in Variety that said that Defy Media was gonna be closing its Beverly Hills office and shutting its doors. I also saw reports in Hollywood Reporter and I think in Deadline, and the company shut its doors down. Literally, we were, ooh, excuse me. Lord, I'm gassy. Oh my gosh. I remember distinctly that there was a rumor that somebody had heard that there were some issues going on behind the scenes. And then I was at breakfast one day, because I was freelance, so I wasn't working every day, but I was at breakfast one day and the articles came out. Huh? Like what? This is crazy. So I have no job, no income. I think at the time I was still a server, but I was a server plus I was doing my dream, which was hosting. So to have that taken away from me literally, like just out of the blue, felt so weird. It felt so jarring, so confusing. It was maybe 6 months later, 4 to 6 months later, we were acquired by a major media company. And when we were acquired, they didn't bring back everybody, but they did bring me back as not just a freelance host, but they brought me back as basically one of the faces of the network of Clevver News. So I was executive producer and one of the lead hosts for Clevver News. Yes! 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 Clevver is back! This is where we'll go ahead and get into what happened. So when that happened, you know, this was a big deal. So that means that contract negotiations are going into effect because I was now a full-time host, or being offered a full-time host and producer position, which should come with the full-time host and producer salary. I think the first issue was when Clevver News was under Defy. I think one of the issues was everything was run so smoothly and cheaply that when we were acquired thinking that they could operate under that same business model. And it's interesting out here in LA when you are chasing a dream. I'm an artist, and I remember at the time I was like, if I take this job, it's full-time. Obviously, I'll have to quit my serving job. And I was negotiating or trying to negotiate with, you know, the higher-ups, and they would not budge past a certain number. And that certain number truly was not enough. It wasn't what I should have been getting paid. But I was grateful that it would have me on camera, I guess more than 5 days a week, because we had videos go out every day. It would give me a great title. It would give me, you know, some stability. I could get insurance, like all these different things. So I just, you know, weighed the pros and cons, and the pros kind of outweighed, I guess, the fact that I wasn't getting paid what I believed I should be getting paid. And, you know, I was like, I'm gonna go in here, I'm gonna do my job, I'm gonna show them that I am worth getting paid more. And, you know, this first year, I'm gonna, you know, bust my butt. And then when we go into, you know, negotiations the next year, I'll have proof to show I've worked so hard. This is why I should be getting paid more. So let's go ahead and get into what happened. I don't know why I'm getting emotional even talking about this. I think partially it's like, does anybody even care? But clearly y'all do, because I keep running into people and they're like, what happened? So the first question, why did you leave Clevver News? When it was announced that the world was shutting down, we behind the scenes at Clevver News were like, okay, the world's shutting down, but we're gonna make sure that we still have infrastructure in place so that we can still give news to the world, right? We can still have our YouTube videos going out. And keep in mind, like when we came back from being laid off to this new parent company, it was very stressful because essentially we had been off the air for months. And so you're trying to rebuild an audience that has now probably found other places to get their news from. You're trying to reintroduce them to Clevver News as the brand. You're trying to introduce them to old faces and new faces. It was a lot. We had like the pressure of creating new shows. We were working long hours. Behind the scenes, I was producing, I was writing, I was pre-editing, I was hosting like multiple shows. I was executive producer of multiple shows. Like it was an intense experience. And again, I'm so grateful for it, but should have been getting paid more. So when we found out that we were all gonna be working from home, because that's what the agreement was, okay, cool, the world's shutting down, we're gonna give you guys equipment and work from home. So I already had my own personal camera and I had lights and stuff. So I took some of the equipment, but I was like, I have stuff at home that I can use to like keep this stuff going. In the studio, I had a teleprompt operator. You know, we had somebody who did the lights, who did sound, who did, we had writers, we had all these different things. So when we moved to home, we still had our writers, but for everything else, you know, we were doing ourselves. Me and my co-host Susan, who also is amazing. Love you, Susan. So I think what happened was, I don't mind doing the work. I'm a hard worker. I just need to be respected. And there was a lack of respect that started to happen over time because I'm definitely a team player, but I was doing way more at home than I was doing in the office. And I was doing it without complaining. And it was not, in my opinion, I don't feel like what I was offering was being valued. So I'm pre-editing my videos, I'm shooting my videos, I'm lighting myself, I'm doing my teleprompter, I'm writing some of my own stories in addition to doing some of the stories that the writers are writing. I am, doing all this stuff from my home, which by the way, like, I don't live in some big house, so this is like already taking up some of my space in my house, and I'm not getting any additional payment to turn part of my home into a studio. So there were like a lot of things where if we were to mention that, it wasn't really addressed or acknowledged. And I was like, you know what? We're going through a transition. It's fine. That transition lasted obviously for a long time though, because we continued to stay at home. We thought we were going to be home for maybe a couple of weeks, and it ended up being months upon months upon months of doing this from home. Was there any drama behind the scenes at Clevver that influenced your decision? Yes, there was drama. And like Beyonce said, overworked and underpaid. That is essentially what was going on. Some things that happened towards the end there that really just started to upset me. There was a point where breaking news started to be a thing, and we were told that if a news story broke, if this celebrity who's pregnant, if they give birth, then we need to do breaking news, and basically, wherever we are, if I'm out to dinner, I need to somehow shoot a video, if it's on my phone or whatever, and then get that to somebody so they can edit it and get that video out. I understand, like, obviously we're a news network, but I was not getting paid to then, when I'm already feeling like I'm not being respected, I'm not getting paid what I'm worth, to then be on call essentially 24/7 for any time there's a breaking news event, to then record this and just stop whatever I'm doing in life. If I'm at the gym, oh, let me record this story real fast. I was like, no, absolutely not. That just didn't sit right with me. And there were just a couple of things. It was the way I was spoken to. It was just a lot of things that started to really irk me. I remember at one point, we were doing like these company-wide meetings, and at one point there was a meeting and they said like, oh, overall, like, the profits overall are so great, like year over year, like we're exceeding what our expectations were, blah, blah. But in my contract, it said I was supposed to get a raise like the next month. And then when that conversation happened, they said, oh, I'm sorry, we can't do a raise because of the pandemic. And I'm thinking, but in the last 3 meetings, y'all have said that profit-wise, year over year, we have exceeded expectations. But for me, who was at home, who wasn't in the studio, who was doing all these things by myself, things that normally I wouldn't have to do, but I was being a team player and doing, and then not even really getting acknowledgement to say, hey, Emile, I appreciate all these extra things that you're doing. Because for me, that goes a long way. That goes a long way, just saying to me, hey, I appreciate everything you're doing. To not even get that, and then to get denied a raise, and it was just, I'm good on this, I'm good. In 2021, I'm not gonna go too much into the drama behind the scenes, but I was miserable, I was unhappy, and there were multiple days I was crying a lot. And there was one day, it was a Zoom call, and I did not like the way I was spoken to, and my voice started to crack and I started to cry because I was trying to express myself and I was frustrated that I wasn't being heard. And that's when I knew I had to leave. Because if I got to that point, I just knew it was time to go. It was time to go. And also, I think it wasn't just Clevver news. It was also just, for me, entertainment news, celebrity culture. When I started, I thought it was so cool. And then the more I did it, I realized I didn't really like how invasive it was to be so involved in celebrities' lives and like reporting on every single detail. I didn't necessarily love that. And it started to be a little toxic for me. Like, you have to have a clickbaity headline or title. You have to, make sure that you're doing stuff to keep the viewers' interest. All things I understand, but it started to become so extreme with some of the things that we had to come up with in order to keep people's attention or get people to view a video. And that's something that I didn't necessarily enjoy as time went on. So I was like, yeah, I think I gotta bow out.
And you would do it too for a check. I was an employee. And I was gonna get employee of the month, and that's on period. So yeah, but that's not who I really am. You know what I'm saying? Like,
the best part of working at Clevver was hanging with my friends. It was literally like a party, especially in the early days. Like, it literally felt like a party. Like, it was just fun. Like I remember me, Drew, Jackie, Sinead, we'll be in like the makeup room, just having dance parties and it was just fun. It was just fun. We would get our job done, but it was just a fun experience. And it's something that, especially in LA can be a lonely city, and in this industry, it can be very lonely. So to meet friends like that have become lifelong friends, it was just magical, and I'm so grateful for it. So I think that was, this dust rolling around. I think that was my favorite part of working at Clevver, is the friendships that I made along the way. And also, it was just a cool experience. It's cool that to this day, there are still people that come up to me and say, I grew up watching you on Clevver, which I'm like, how? Like, that makes me feel old. But also, like, there are people who used to watch us on a daily basis. Like, we had daily shows, and there were people who would come home, or they would be in school and they would turn on, either on their phone or on their computer. They would watch Clevver News, they would watch Clevver Style, and they would get to know us through these things. And it's just a cool feeling to know that I've impacted even just one person. I've either inspired them to be on camera, or I just entertain them and help them get through the day. That just means, not gonna cry, that just means a lot to me. It really does mean a lot to me. And regardless of any drama that went down towards the end, or any animosity that I might have felt, like, I truly am grateful for the experience that I had at that job. So it's not like any major drama. I was just overworked and underpaid and did not feel valued or respected. So so the summary is, there's not like any real drama that like really happened as to why I left. I was overworked, underpaid, and I didn't feel like I was respected. But yeah, I'm so grateful that I made some amazing friends who I now consider family. You know, I call it New Clevver, because New Clevver is when we were acquired by that company. It was just so great because I had Susan right by my side every single day, and we just confided in each other. But I also got to see Drew and Jackie and Sinead, and that was amazing too. And of course, you know, Clevver is just, there are things that I miss, but there are things that I don't miss, and I'm grateful for what I experienced there, but we have to move on. Forgot I still have in the closet, I have some of the things I took from my desk when I left. You see that? And then, of course, the Rumor Patrol card, and then DHR. That was such a cool time in life, honestly. But it was also a reminder that I am not always valued in the way that I know I should be valued. I'm not respected in the way that I should be respected. And also as a reminder that everybody doesn't want to see you succeed. Everybody's not rooting for you. That's no tea, no shade. That's just a general lesson in life. I think I went into that job so optimistic and so bubbly and just naive. And you start to learn things quickly. You start to learn that people will take advantage of you. You start to learn that people will underpay you as much as they can. And the longer I've been in this career, the more I've realized my value, I've realized my worth, and I'm not gonna settle for less.
Everyone, say hi to Emile from morningsave.com. Hey! Now, did you bring us some good stuff today?
Lonnie, I'd never disappoint you. All right, let's talk about the real. Because, okay, so first of all, if we really want to get into it, there was a point where Clevver wasn't trying to let me do the real. So when I found out that I got the real, I had to, old friend James reached out to me and said that they were looking for somebody to do this segment on the real, and would I be interested? I said, absolutely. So I went to the set, I auditioned on the set of the real, and found out a couple weeks later that I got it. Woo, amazing. But I literally had to fight tooth and nail to get Clevver to agree to let me do the real, even though they weren't paying me enough. And I said, I can make this work. I was like, it shoots at this time in the morning. Sometimes it's a pre-tape or whatever, but I will make this work. I will work extra hard and I will make sure I get everything done so I can do both, because I wanted to, one, I wanted to be on TV, but also get that check, because that was a SAG show. And that means that it's paying at least SAG scale on top of whatever, you know, I was able to negotiate. And so, and residuals, I'm like, no, I need to make this happen. And I remember my agent fighting with them. I remember me like fighting with them, like being like, hey, please, let's make this work. Like, this only helps me and you, because if this happens and I go on this show, then it increases my exposure, which then helps the network. Anyway, that was a whole thing within itself. The Real was an amazing, amazing, amazing experience working with all those amazing people. You know, I worked with Tamara and Lonnie and Jeannie and Adrian and Amanda Sills for a while. Like, it was, and Garcelle. Like, I was on there for 3 seasons and it was truly such a, I don't know, that was just like a whirlwind for me. The fact that this kid who had these dreams of, you know, being a host and being on TV and doing those things, it wasn't in the way that I thought it was gonna be, but I was on TV. Like, I was literally going to The Real almost every single week shooting my segment. And then during the holidays, they would do like a week of stills, because the segment I did was called Stills on The Real. So they would do a week of stills and it would be for like the holidays. And so I was there for 5 days in a row. And it was just, that was just an incredible experience. Like, it was an incredible experience. So what happened after The Real? Well, I remember my last season, I wasn't there as often as I used to be, and it started to slow down a little bit, and then the email stopped coming, the phone stopped ringing, I was like, what is going on? And it was a few months later I found out that the show was being canceled. So when I found out The Real was canceled, it hurt, because my last season there, I wasn't there as often as I was the previous seasons. We had moved back to set, but it wasn't the same set that I had started on. It was a different stage, and it was smaller, but I was still grateful. I was still grateful that I, you know, could go in there, I could see the wonderful ladies, and I could do my job. And I think that was such a great experience too, especially when we were live, because when we were live, that was so fun to have like the live audience. And, you know, I see my time on the clock. You know, you have 6 minutes and 20 seconds to do this segment. You have to make sure, and I always have to make sure like I'm getting through all my products and doing everything. And I'm looking at that clock in my periphery to make sure I'm staying on time, like whatever, and I'm getting this segment done in time. It really is a skill set, and it was so much fun. It was so much fun. So obviously that last season wasn't the same. There wasn't a live audience. We were on a different set, and it was just different, but I was so grateful for it. And the ladies were always so kind to me. And I really don't have anything negative to say about my experience on The Real. I'm just sad that it ended. I thought it was a great show, and I'm grateful for my time there, but it definitely hurt my pockets. You know, The Real, when it was canceled, that hurt my pockets. I had already left Clevver, then I lost The Real, and I was just kind of like, what is going on, God, universe? Like, why am I don't know. Why is it so difficult right now? People ask, do I still talk to, you know, the ladies from The Real? And I do. I talk to them through DMs sometimes, or just through Instagram comments, but not like on the phone or through text or anything. But if I see them out at an event in person, like, they're always so wonderful and lovely to me. So yeah, I have no regrets with The Real. I just miss that paycheck a lot. And I miss the experience of being on TV like that often and getting to bring joy into people's homes. That was just a fun thing to do. So yeah. That is kind of what happened with that. And to the person who tweeted, like, what happened to me, what's going on? So after I left Clevver, actually it started while I was near the end of Clevver, which I didn't know was near the end yet, but I was offered an opportunity to work for Amazon Live. And Amazon Live is basically like QVC or a home shopping network, but for Amazon. And they have different hosts, influencers, content creators, celebrities who go on there and they talk about products for a living. But this time, I, already had experience talking about products on The Real. So this was a natural fit for me to get on Amazon and, talk about these different products. And I did an audition from them for my home because the studio's in New York, but it was still a pandemic, so I was doing it from home. And I got the job and it was so great. So the reason why I was able to even leave Clevver is because that job was so great and paid so well that I was like, I'm doing a fraction of the work, but getting paid so much more than what I'm getting paid over at this salary job. So it gave me the momentum to leave. And I guess the frequency of work and the money and like everything was great. And so that's why I was able to leave Clevver, honestly, is because I got that job. And I was so grateful for that opportunity. And it really it was a good reminder that there are other opportunities out there. I think the hardest thing for me once I left Clevver and then once The Real was canceled is figuring out who am I outside of those things. Because for years, people knew me as the guy from Clevver News and then the guy from The Real and Clevver News. I got married in 2022 and our wedding went viral. So then it was, being known for my relationship. But I'm like, who is Emile? Like outside of all of this, who is Emile? I know I'm not a snack, I'm Emile, blah, 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 blah. But outside of my career, outside of my relationship, who am I? And I think that's been the journey and the discovery that I've been on for the last couple of years, is just figuring out who I am and what are my blocks and what is stopping me from continuing to be creative like I used to be back in the day. And I realized it was fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of rejection. This is a hard city and there's been a lot of no's. But the thing is, you have to keep going, right? And there was a moment where I didn't have the desire to keep going. And I mean that in every sense of that statement. As my, I guess, perception, as like the outside view looked great, inside I was like, what is going on? Like, what am I? Who am I? And how do I move forward? And that sounds so dramatic, but you have to think that for years, I was literally a full-time host, paying all my bills with being on camera and doing this dream that I had as a dream for years. I was doing it regularly and getting paid well for it. And then things started to change. So, I said I had the Amazon Live gig. I still have Amazon Live. I still work for Amazon Live. It's not as frequent as it used to be, but I still host for them. But the industry has changed so much, and there's been such a, shift to social following, and it's not so much about talent anymore in terms of traditional talent, like, career and like, did you study and train for this? Nobody cares about that. They look at your social media numbers and they put you in front of a camera, and if it works, it works. Which, kudos, I applaud that. For me, though, I had to, I guess, mourn the loss of what or how it used to be. And also, I guess, nowadays, when you look at somebody, it's like, oh, this person is a tech guy, this person does fitness, this person does that. And my whole life, I have never wanted to be put inside of a box. I don't want to be put inside of a box, but now everybody has like this thing that they are. And that's been a struggle for me. And I'm like, I'm Emile. I'm not just one thing. So how do I navigate this industry now that people are putting people in a box? And that's something that is going to be an ever-evolving journey for me. But during that time, when work was slow, I did get my personal training license. So I became a certified personal trainer, and I got my certification in nutrition coaching, and I'm proud of myself for doing that. So I have that, and I'm grateful for that. But ultimately, I'm like, I still want to be full-time hosting again, full-time on camera. And I believe that is still coming in a way that I can't articulate because I don't know what the future holds. I will say that there is something that I did recently that I can't tell you about, but I went away for a while and I came back. That's all I can say, but when I can share more, of course I will. But that was a transformative experience for me because I really was able to connect with myself and realize that I'm more than just what I do. I have value, I have purpose, and my purpose and my joy is bringing other people joy. And so even though I may not have like all the opportunities that I used to have, even though I don't have the money in my account that I used to have, even though circumstances have changed, what I do have is I still have my ability to talk to people, to bring people joy. And I am so sorry that I have abandoned, my platform, whether it's YouTube or TikTok or Instagram or anything, just because even if a video doesn't do well, even if it's not about the views, it's not about that, it's about making one person smile. That truly is why I started doing any of this, is to bring people joy. And so I was like, you know what? It. Let's start doing this again, and let's actually get back to bringing people joy. And so I want to come back and just start being active again. And all the creative blocks, like I will say, it was hard. It was hard because people can be mean and they can be hurtful and hateful in the comments. Every single day, if I go to my comments on any platform, you're going to hell. You love Satan. They do like the vomit or the G's. Like, just because I'm gay, just because I'm in a relationship and I post something with my husband, and that can be really taxing. But then I was like, why am I focused on that when there's also, on the flip side, so many people who are pouring into me, who are talking about how beautiful love is, how great it is to see that, how much value and life I bring to their daily existence just by me existing. And that's what I'm choosing to focus on from now on. What have I been up to? I've been living life. I have been on a journey to find who I am, and I've been meditating. I've been practicing gratitude. I've been loving my son and my husband. I've been saying yes and being open to opportunities that I never thought I would say yes to. Full transparency, y'all, there was a period, not even that long ago, like a couple months ago, where I was applying to jobs. I had a few interviews at a couple major jewelry. Wow, I cannot talk. I had quite a few interviews at a couple major jewelry stores in Beverly Hills. I auditioned to be an instructor, a fitness instructor at a big fitness studio, and none of it was panning out. It was either I'm getting far in the process and then crickets, or it was no. And that's hard because that was the jobs that, Kingston, I'm telling a deep story right now. That was the jobs that even responded. The crazy thing is, because I was so blessed and fortunate to work on camera for so many years as my full-time job, that also means I have like a big gap in my resume of no work experience, like in terms of traditional work. And so when I'm applying to these jobs, it was kind of like, okay, well, are you really done with, on camera work? And I would tell them, I was like, I just need money and I want stability. And so I'm applying. And I don't know if maybe they didn't believe me, or maybe they're like, nah, he needs to be back on camera. Who knows? But none of it was panning out. And then again, I went away and came back, and we'll see what happens with that. When I can tell y'all about it, I will. But I'm truly just staying open to the universe and I know that I have this platform and I want to be back on here more often talking to you guys. Please, 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 please give me ideas. Because I really struggle sometimes with content burnout. And I'm like, I don't know what people want to hear me talk about. So please, please do give me ideas and tell me what you want to see more of. And I promise I will be on here more often. As far as where I see myself in the next few years, I see myself happy, successful, and financially stable. How we're going to get there, don't know. But again, I'm just going with the flow, and that's where I see myself. And I believe that I will get there some way, somehow. And the industry, when the industry went on strike, it really hit a lot of us hard. And my husband got laid off in December of 2022, which was 6 months after our wedding. And it's been so hard ever since. We both have been struggling work-wise. And because we both are on camera for a living, and again, when you try to go to get a more traditional job, they're looking at you like you're crazy because they're like, well, you don't have the experience. And it's like, well, I do have experience, just not in the way that you can articulate it on a resume. But yes, I believe that change is coming. The strike was really, really hard for myself. And it's hard for a lot of people. When I'm talking to my peers, like so many of us are struggling. And I know it's not just people in this industry. I know it's like all over, people are struggling and doing what they need to do to survive. Same boat over here. I'm doing what I need to do to survive. And you know, this connection used to bring me so much joy. So what I want to do is find the joy in this again. And I believe that that will lead me to more joy and continue to go on this path of finding my purpose. But for anybody who's going through a major career change right now, y'all trust me, I know it is scary. I know it is scary. But we got this. We got this, and we're figuring it out. And all I do recently, you know, I don't focus on the bills. I don't focus on any debt. I don't focus on anything like that. I focus on gratitude, and I focus on taking it all one day at a time. Because truly, that's all I can do. All I can do is focus on this current moment, take it one day at a time, and we'll see what tomorrow brings. But yeah, that's all I can do. And I lead with love. I lead with love, and I just trust that God and the universe have my back and that more is coming, and I'm vibing with that. For every single person who has supported me through this season, who has poured into me, who has believed in me, who still believes in me, and who doesn't only support me when things are, you know, popping and glitzy and glossy. I truly do appreciate that, and it means more than you know. And I'm just so grateful. I'm grateful for this season of life because even though I could see the negative, I truly believe that it has been such a blessing, and it's allowed me to learn so much about myself, and I'm just really excited for whatever the future holds. So who is Emile? Emile is somebody who loves. Emile is somebody who is kind. Emile is somebody who is creative. Emile is somebody who loves to bring other people joy. Emile is somebody who is not afraid of what other people think. Emile is somebody who has the confidence in himself to know that he is going to be successful and that he's going to surpass whatever this rough season is. That is who I am, and that is who I will continue to be. And, you know, I love working out. I love singing. I love being on camera. I love all these things. And if I need to be put into a box right now to get me to the next level, put me into a box. But once I break out of that box, I am going to be unstoppable. I'm so grateful for each and every one of you. Thank you so much if you have made it to the end of this video. Hopefully this video made sense and I wasn't just rambling on, but I truly do appreciate you and I'm so grateful. So thank you. Thank you so much. And I will see you soon right back here on my channel. Bye y'all. Oh my God, millennials, Kingston, only millennials do this peace sign. Was it the new one? Because we do heart, or we do like this, but the new one is like this. It's like this. So weird, right? I do this, but it's like this. So weird.